All right, let's dive into this. We're taking a deep dive today into natural reasoning. Reasoning in the wild with 2.8 million challenging questions.
Oh, this is a good one.
Just from the title, I think we can already tell this is going to be an interesting one.
It's a fascinating paper.
Yeah, so this paper basically introduces a massive new data set, and it's designed to push the boundaries of AI reasoning capabilities.
Yeah, and it really does. The results are impressive.
Absolutely. Buckle up, everyone, because we're about to unpack a paper that could really change how we train AI to think.
This is one of the most exciting papers I've seen in a while.
It is. It is.
When you think about it, most AI models today excel in kind of like specific domains, right? So like math or coding. But ask them to reason about like a physics problem or try to like grapple with economics, and they really struggle.
Yeah, they lack that general reasoning ability that we humans just take for granted.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, of course I could do that. But for them, it's like...
It's hard.
Yeah, and that's the gap that natural reasoning addresses.
Totally, yeah.
So researchers created a data set of 2.8 million questions.
It's huge.
But these aren't your typical, what's the capital of France kind of questions.
Oh.
These are complex, multi-step problems, and they're actually sourced from real-world text, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
It covers so many different topics like physics, economics, computer science.
Social sciences even.
Social sciences, yeah.
That's wild.
So they've basically thrown the AI into the deep end of the knowledge pool.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And here's what's so fascinating. The researchers found that even like the state-of-the-art language models, the LLMs, they generate much longer responses when they're tackling these questions.
Way longer.
Which is a clear sign that these questions require more intricate thought processes.
Yeah, they really have to think about it.
Yeah, it's like the AI is really having to sweat to come up with an answer.
Absolutely, and this data set isn't just about challenge, it's also about efficiency. They found that natural reasoning was incredibly effective for knowledge distillation.
And just as a reminder for our listeners, knowledge distillation is where you're transferring knowledge from a powerful teacher AI to a smaller student AI.
Right, you got it.
So it's like creating a more compact, efficient version of the AI without losing its reasoning power.
Exactly.
And that has huge implications for real-world applications, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Imagine being able to deploy like sophisticated AI models on devices with limited computing power, like smartphones or even embedded systems.
That's huge. It could make AI so much more accessible in all sorts of new places.
Yeah, it's a really big deal, but
it gets even wilder.
Okay.
They also experimented with self-training where the AI essentially learns to like evaluate and reward its own answers.
Okay.
And in some cases, this self-training actually outperformed approaches using external reward models.
So the AI is becoming its own teacher.
Exactly.
Constantly refining its reasoning based on its own judgments.
And doing a good job.
That's amazing. I know what our listeners are thinking. How did they pull this off?
Right.
Well, that's what we're going to dive into next.
Let's do it.
So how did they actually build this massive data set?
Well, it all starts with something called a pre-training corpus.
Okay.
So imagine you have this vast digital library filled with text from all sorts of sources.
All right.
Books, articles, websites, like you name it.
Okay, so it's like the raw material for training the AI.
Exactly. But the challenge is, how do you extract meaningful reasoning questions from like the sea of information?
Yeah, because I mean, there's so much out there.
There is, and that's where they cleverly used LLM.
Those large language models that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, the very same.
Okay.
They used a specific LLM to analyze each document.
Okay.
And they scored it based on its reasoning complexity.
So they're looking for documents that involve intricate problem-solving, logical thought processes.
Yeah.
So they're not just grabbing any random sentence and turning it into a question.
No. It's much more nuanced than that. They're looking for the nuggets of real reasoning within the text.
Right. They're being very selective.
Very selective, yeah.
I like that.
Once they've identified these like high reasoning documents, they use another LLM to actually craft a challenging question.
Okay, so it's like having an AI research assistant that's sifting through mountains of information and then poses a thought-provoking question based on what it learns.
That's a great analogy.
I like that.
And the beauty of it is that this process doesn't just replicate existing questions.
Right.
It can create entirely new ones.
Wow.
And it ensures that the data set is novel and diverse.
Very cool. Okay, so they've got the questions, but what about the answers? How do they make sure the AI has something to learn from?
That's where the reference answers come in.
Okay.
For a large portion of the questions, they used LLMs to either extract or generate reference answers.
All right.
And these can range from a single word to a short summary, or even clues that kind of guide the AI toward the solution.
So it's not always a straightforward, here's the answer kind of situation.
Not at all. Remember, we're dealing with complex reasoning.
Right.
Sometimes the answer might be implicitly embedded within the text.
Okay.
Other times it requires putting together different pieces of information.
It's like a puzzle.
It is.
I like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so they built this massive, diverse data set, but how does natural reasoning stack up against other reasoning data sets out there?
That's an important question, and the researchers actually did a thorough comparison.
Okay.
And the results are pretty compelling.
All right, so they compared natural reasoning to other data sets. What stood out?
Well, first off, sheer size.
Yeah.
Natural reasoning dwarfs most other data sets with its 2.8 million unique questions.
2.8 million, that's huge.
It's enormous, but it's not just about quantity.
Right.
The questions themselves are, on average, significantly longer.
Okay.
And that suggests a higher level of complexity.
Longer questions, deeper reasoning.
Exactly.
I can see the connection.
And to really get a sense of the difficulty, they used a really powerful LLM to generate answers to questions from different data sets.
So they're using the AI to evaluate the AI. That's interesting.
It is.
So what did they learn from that?
The responses to natural reasoning questions were notably longer than those for other data sets.
Oh, wow.
So even the AI needed to work harder to come up with answers, which kind of indicates a greater complexity.
So it's not just that the questions are longer, it's that they require more intricate thought processes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and I remember we talked about diversity earlier.
Yeah.
Most existing data sets focus heavily on math.
Yeah, math or logic puzzles.
Natural reasoning, on the other hand, spans a much wider range of topics.
Oh yeah, way more.
And that's the whole point, right? It's about training the AI to reason across different domains, not just be a math whiz.
It's about being well-rounded.
Exactly.
They actually quantified this using a topic classifier. And they found that natural reasoning had much broader coverage of subjects like physics, computer science, social sciences.
Yeah, it's covering all the bases.
Yeah, it's like a buffet.
It is.
And this diversity is really crucial for developing AI that can truly generalize its reasoning abilities.
It's like the difference between training someone to be a specialist in one narrow field versus giving them a well-rounded education.
Yeah, a perfect analogy.
I like that.
Now, we've talked a lot about the makeup of this data set. Let's dive into how it's actually being used to push the boundaries of AI.
Okay, so natural reasoning is a great teacher.
It is.
But what if the AI could become its own teacher?
Yeah.
That's where this idea of self-training comes in, right?
I got it. One of the key applications that they explore in the paper is knowledge distillation.
Okay.
So imagine you have this brilliant, all-knowing AI, like a master of reasoning.
Yeah.
We call that the teacher model.
Okay, so like the ultimate AI mentor.
Exactly.
Got it.
But now, imagine you want to impart some of that wisdom to a smaller, less experienced AI, the student model.
It's like an AI apprenticeship.
Precisely. And that's what knowledge distillation is all about. It's a technique for transferring knowledge from a larger, more complex teacher model to a smaller, more efficient student model.
Okay, I see the benefits there. Because smaller models are faster, they use less computing power.
Right.
Which makes them much more practical for real-world applications.
Absolutely.
And then by distilling knowledge from a powerful teacher model, we can also improve the reasoning capabilities of the student model.
You get it.
So the student gets like a turbocharged education, boosting their reasoning skills, but without needing all the computational muscle of the teacher.
That's the idea.
I like that.
Now, the paper shows that natural reasoning is remarkably effective for this task.
Okay.
They ran experiments where they used it to distill knowledge from a powerful LLM to a smaller one.
And what happened? Did the student learn from the master?
The results were really impressive, yeah. The student model that was trained on natural reasoning showed significant improvement in its reasoning abilities, and it even outperformed other models that were trained on different data sets.
So not all data sets are created equal.
No, they're not.
Natural reasoning seems to be exceptional for knowledge distillation.
It is. It really is.
And that opens up, even more exciting possibilities for deploying really sophisticated AI, even in resource-constrained environments.
Totally.
Like, think about running complex AI models on your phone or even in, like, tiny sensors.
That would be amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this self-training idea. This is where the AI becomes its own teacher.
You got it.
That's pretty wild.
It's a truly fascinating concept.
hell?
So traditionally, when we train AI, we rely on human-provided labels or feedback.
Right. We tell the model what's right and wrong so it can learn.
Exactly. But with self-training, the AI is essentially learning to be its own critic.
Okay, how on earth does that work?
It's all about self-rewarding. The AI will generate multiple responses to a question.
Okay.
And then it uses a mechanism to evaluate and rank them.
So it's like the AI is grading its own homework.
Yeah.
But how does it know what a good answer looks like?
There's a few different approaches. One is based on self-consistency.
Yeah, okay.
The AI analyzes its responses, and it looks for patterns or recurring answers.
Okay.
And the more frequently an answer appears, the higher its perceived reward.
So if the AI keeps arriving at the same answer, it figures that answer must be right.
Yeah, it's clever.
That's pretty clever.
Another approach is self-scoring.
Okay.
Here, the AI is trained to assess the quality of its responses based on things like coherence, logic, factual accuracy.
So it's developing its own internal sense of what makes a good answer without needing a human to tell it.
Exactly. And what's incredible is that the paper shows that self-training using natural reasoning can actually outperform traditional methods that rely on external reward models.
That's remarkable.
It is. And
Yeah.
it suggests a future where AI systems could learn and adapt much more autonomously.
Wow.
Without constant human supervision.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so they focused on knowledge distillation and self-training, but surely there are other things you could do with a data set like this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Its size and diversity make it a treasure trove for all sorts of AI research.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, for one, it could be used to develop new benchmarks for evaluating AI models.
Oh.
So think of it like a standardized test for AI reasoning abilities.
You could use natural reasoning to see how well different AI models stack up against each other.
Exactly. And beyond benchmarking, it could be used for fine-tuning existing AI models for specific tasks.
Okay.
So let's say you wanted to build an AI that was really great at medical reasoning.
Yep.
You could use natural reasoning to fine-tune a general-purpose language model and make it a specialist in that domain.
So it's a really versatile tool with applications across many different areas of AI research.
It really is.
That's amazing.
But as with any powerful technology, we need to be mindful of the ethical implications.
Right. It's not just about making AI smarter. It's about making sure it's used responsibly.
Exactly. And that's a conversation for another time.
We'll save that for later.
But for now, let's dig into some of the specific findings from the experiments they ran with natural reasoning.
All right. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of those results. What did they learn about the effectiveness of knowledge distillation and self-training using this data set?
Let's start with knowledge distillation.
Darn.
So they used a relatively small language model as the student.
Okay.
And they wanted to see how well it could learn from a larger teacher model.
Right.
They measured the student's performance on 3 different benchmarks that test reasoning across different domains: math, GPQA, and MMLU Pro.
Okay, so pretty comprehensive testing there.
Yeah.
All right, so what happened?
They found that training the student on natural reasoning led to significant improvements on all 3 benchmarks.
Yes, great.
Yeah, it was able to absorb knowledge from the teacher model really effectively.
Right. But they also compared natural reasoning to other data sets, right?
Yes, and this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
They observed much steeper scaling trends with natural reasoning compared to other reasoning data sets.
Okay, and remind me again what that means.
So basically, the AI's performance improved much faster with natural reasoning,
Right.
meaning we might need less data to achieve the same results.
That's pretty remarkable, the efficiency there.
It is.
Okay.
And that has implications for both the speed and cost of training AI models.
Makes sense. So it's not just about having a lot of data, it's about having the right kind of data.
Exactly. And they made another interesting observation when they compared natural reasoning to a data set that focused primarily on math problems.
Okay.
And as you might expect, the math-specific data set excelled in math,
Okay.
but its performance on benchmarks that assess broader reasoning,
Right.
like science or multidisciplinary problem solving, was significantly weaker.
So it was a bit of a one-trick pony.
It was good at math, but not much else.
Right.
And that highlights the importance of diversity in the training data. Natural reasoning, with its wide range of topics, provides a more well-rounded education for AI models, enabling them to generalize and reason across different domains.
It's like if you only ever study math, you might become a great mathematician.
Right.
but you'll struggle to understand history or literature.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Now let's shift gears to the self-training experiments.
Okay.
They focus specifically on a subset of natural reasoning containing around 15,000 questions related to science reasoning.
Okay, so they wanted to see how well the AI could learn to reason about science on its own.
Basically, yeah.
Interesting.
They used two main approaches to self-training: rejection-based sampling, fine-tuning, RFT, and direct preference optimization, DPO.
Okay, and so just to remind our listeners again, the AI is learning to be its own critic, choosing its best answers and learning from them.
Exactly.
And the surprising finding was that this sometimes worked better than having a human expert score its answers.
It did.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
It really highlights how powerful self-learning can be. Okay, so they tested this with different self-rewarding techniques, and they even found that incorporating a simple filtering mechanism, basically removing low-confidence responses, further enhanced the effectiveness of self-training.
Right, so it's like the AI is saying, I'm not so sure about this answer, so I'm not going to learn from it.
Exactly.
And by focusing on the higher quality responses, they were able to achieve even better results.
Wow, this is all incredibly fascinating.
It is.
But before we get carried away, we need to step back and consider the bigger picture. What does all of this mean for the future of AI?
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
And one that we'll be tackling in our final segment.
Okay, I'm excited to dive into that.
Me too.
But for now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good. So we're back and ready to tackle that million-dollar question.
Right, the future of AI.
Exactly. We've seen how this natural reasoning data set is pushing the boundaries.
It's changing the game.
It really is. It's forcing us to rethink what's possible with AI.
It's like we're watching the birth of a new kind of AI.
Yeah.
One that's like far more independent and capable.
Much more sophisticated.
Yeah, than anything we've seen before. And that brings up some pretty big questions.
Huge questions.
Yeah. About, the future of AI and its role in our world.
Where do we go from here?
Exactly. So let's talk about those implications. What are some of the potential benefits, but also what are the risks? What should we be thinking about as AI reasoning gets, more and more sophisticated?
Well, on the bright side, imagine AI helping us solve some of humanity's toughest challenges.
Okay.
Climate change.
Okay.
Developing life-saving
We're
medicines.
talking about AI that can actually analyze complex data, identify hidden patterns, maybe even propose solutions that we would have never thought of.
Exactly, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, AI with advanced reasoning could revolutionize everything from personalized education to healthcare.
Making those systems more effective and accessible to everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so exciting to think about all the possibilities.
It is.
But we'd be naive to not consider the potential downsides as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There are going to be some challenges along the way.
Yeah, I mean, job displacement is a major concern.
Right.
As AI becomes capable of performing more complex tasks, some jobs might become automated, leading to, economic disruption, potentially even social unrest.
That's a valid point. I mean, we need to be prepared for these changes and make sure that everyone benefits from the rise of AI.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be a select few.
Exactly. But couldn't AI also create new jobs?
Potentially.
New opportunities that we haven't even imagined yet?
It's certainly possible. The key is to have those open conversations.
Yeah.
About these potential shifts and invest in the training and education to prepare people for these new jobs of the future.
Right. And what about bias?
Oh, that's a big one.
Because we know that AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on.
Right.
If that data reflects existing societal biases, then the AI is just going to perpetuate or even amplify those biases.
Absolutely. That's why we need to be incredibly careful about the data we use to train AI. We need diverse representative data sets.
Okay.
And we also need mechanisms to detect and mitigate bias in these systems.
So transparency and accountability are essential.
Very much so.
We need to be able to understand how AI is making decisions and then make sure that those decisions are fair and just...
I agree.
Okay. But then there are even deeper, philosophical questions.
Oh, yeah.
As AI reasoning gets more sophisticated,
right?
Where do we even draw the line?
That's the question.
Between a complex algorithm and genuine intelligence, or even consciousness.
It's a blurry line.
It is. I was watching a sci-fi movie the other day about this super intelligent AI.
Oh, yeah.
And it really got me thinking, what if we create something that surpasses our own abilities?
It's a classic sci-fi trope, but it's becoming more and more relevant as AI technology advances.
It's a question that's been pondered by philosophers and scientists for centuries. And now it's like right on our doorstep.
It is.
At what point does AI stop being a tool and become something more? It's mind-boggling.
It really is.
It's a conversation that we need to have as a society.
Absolutely.
Okay, so these data sets like natural reasoning, they're crucial to these conversations.
I agree.
Because they're pushing the boundaries of AI reasoning.
Right.
They're forcing us to confront these ethical and societal implications.
They're making us think.
Exactly.
It's a good thing.
It is. It's not just about building smarter AI. It's about building better AI.
Right.
AI that aligns with our values.
Absolutely.
Helps us create a more equitable and sustainable future.
That's the goal.
It is. And that requires collaboration, open dialogue.
Between researchers, policymakers,
the public.
Everyone needs to be involved.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Into the world of AI reasoning, we've covered so much. From the technical details of natural reasoning to, like, these big philosophical questions.
It's been a great discussion.
And we're going to keep exploring these questions.
Absolutely.
And keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
We're just getting started.
I think so.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning.
It is.
So thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
Keep learning.
And let's see what the future of AI holds.
I can't wait.
Welcome back to AI Paper Podcasts. We've been breaking down this groundbreaking paper on natural reasoning, a data set that's really pushing the boundaries of AI.
It is. It's forcing us to rethink what's even possible.
And now it's time for the big picture. We've seen how natural reasoning allows AI to learn to reason and even to self-critique in ways that we can only dream of a few years ago.
It really is remarkable how far we've come.
Yeah. It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new generation of AI.
Yeah.
One that's far more independent and capable than anything we've seen before.
Absolutely. And that raises some profound questions about the future of AI and its role in our world.
Okay, let's talk about those implications. What are some of the potential benefits? But also, like, what are the risks that we should be thinking about as AI reasoning becomes more and more sophisticated?
Well, on the bright side, imagine AI helping us solve some of humanity's toughest challenges, like climate change or developing life-saving medicines.
We're talking about AI that can analyze complex data, identify hidden patterns, propose solutions that we might never have thought of.
Exactly. And that's really just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, AI with this advanced reasoning could revolutionize everything from personalized education to healthcare.
Right, making these systems more effective and accessible to everyone?
Absolutely.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is.
But we'd be naive not to consider the potential downsides as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Job displacement is a major concern.
Right.
As AI becomes more capable of performing complex tasks, some jobs might become automated.
Right, leading to economic disruption and potentially even social unrest.
Exactly. We need to be prepared for these changes and ensure that everyone benefits from the rise of AI, not just a select few.
Couldn't AI also create new jobs and opportunities that we haven't even imagined yet, though?
That's certainly a possibility, yeah. It's crucial that we have open conversations about these potential shifts and invest in training and education to prepare people for the jobs of the future.
What about bias?
Oh, that's a big one. We know that AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on.
Right, and if that data reflects existing societal biases, then the AI is just going to perpetuate or even amplify those biases.
Exactly. That's why we need to be incredibly careful about the data we use to train AI. We need diverse, representative data sets, and we need mechanisms to detect and mitigate bias in AI systems.
So transparency and accountability are essential.
Absolutely.
We need to be able to understand how AI is making decisions and ensure that those decisions are fair and just.
I agree.
There are also those deeper, more philosophical questions to think about.
Oh yeah, as AI reasoning gets more sophisticated, where do we even draw the line between a complex algorithm and genuine intelligence or even consciousness?
You know, I was watching a sci-fi movie the other day about a super intelligent AI.
Oh, yeah.
And it really got me thinking, like, what if we create something that actually surpasses our own abilities?
It's a question that's been pondered by philosophers and scientists for centuries, and it's becoming increasingly relevant as AI technology advances.
Right. At what point does AI stop being a tool and become something more? It's mind-boggling.
It is. It really is a conversation that we need to have as a society.
Datasets like natural reasoning are crucial to these conversations.
I agree.
Because they're pushing the boundaries of AI reasoning. They're forcing us to confront the ethical and societal implications of this technology.
They are. It's not just about building smarter AI. It's about building better AI that aligns with our values and helps us create a more equitable and sustainable future.
Exactly. And that requires collaboration and open dialogue between researchers, policymakers, and the public.
Everyone needs to be involved.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive into the world of AI reasoning. We've covered so much.
It has.
From the technical details of natural reasoning to these really big philosophical questions about the future of AI.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
And thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
I can't wait to see what the future holds.